Hello. Welcome to my studio. Once again, we're going to take a listen to some music today. I have my space heater going because it's cold as hell, but I'll turn it off later. Cool. Let's get started. We only have a few submissions so far, but I'm sure people will funnel in, as they say. I got to get into my proper slouching procedure here. Oh, yeah. There's nothing like a good slouch, you know? Whoever decided that sitting with proper posture was a good move is wrong. Let's have a listen. This, we'll just hop right into it. Why don't we? Yeah, I almost did it, though. We got all kinds of stuff happening in the master bus here that I gotta cancel out. Okay. Oh, a little bump. Get out of there. Okay, I think we're good now. All right, let's have a listen. See what you guys have been up to. This one's called Silly Goofy Tomfoolery Song by A-Trix. I realize now that I did mess something up. I was using the wrong driver. Sorry. Okay. There we go. We're good now. Cool. This is honestly really fun. Couple thoughts. One, the stuff that's quiet. So we got kind of this bit. We got like this. I would make it less quiet. I would like, it's already kind of, it sounds kind of like diminished sonically. It doesn't have to be that quiet to still have that same contrast when it hits with like the big stuff. The next thing. So you kind of have a melody in there. Dun 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 dun. But it's being played mostly by the bass part. So I would probably try to find a fun, bright, higher register synth or something to play that melody in, because the song is kind of lacking melody. It's kind of hidden and it's almost implied. Like when I listen to it, it's almost like I'm making up the melody in my head based on what you're giving me. But I think that you should make up the melody in your head and then put it in the song so that the audience doesn't have to, because it's just kind of... There's little hints at melodic elements that are happening, but there's nothing really tied down to say this is the melody of the song. So I would do that. And then the next thing is when it gets here, I would probably bring the volume of your kick drum and clap down a bit, because you can see, I mean, like, the volume of the song is really being perceived as this. Let me see. Let me do this. So like, this is kind of the perceived volume of the song, right? Yes, we have those little spikes, those punches that are cutting through. And it's not that it can't have some dynamics in it, but I believe for this style of music, it's got too much dynamics. I would bring the kick and clap down until those spikes are more in line with, you know, the rest of the track, because then you can hit your master limiter a lot harder and get everything louder with no downside. Right now, if I hit that master limiter hard, it probably wouldn't even sound that bad, but... So you can see how much louder it is if I turn it off. But the limiter is really getting hit a little too hard by those big drums that are coming through and, you know, fucking shit up. So I'd bring those down so that you can bring everything else back up. Let's see what happens here.
Cool.
In this section, it's almost like it's the snare drum that's really driving the loudest portion of the song. That might be okay. I'd maybe bring it down a little bit or even use the wave shaper tool to chop off this very sharp peak. And again, the reason why we're doing that is we're trying to prepare the dynamic range of the track to hit the master limiter in the gentlest way so that we can still go pretty aggressive with the style of music with the limiter, but it's not going to get hit as hard as trying to bring that threshold down and then it has to deal with this, right? It's cool that he says cool and it actually sounds that way. Yeah.
Cool.
But anyway, it's a very good start. I like it a lot. It's fun, it's upbeat, it's energetic, and it makes me want to play Super Nintendo aggressively. All right, let's move on. This one's called Bad Intro. It's very descriptive. So I like where this is going, but it's another one of those dynamics things. I mean, you've got like your 808 sub bass, and you can see how kind of minuscule it is, especially comparing it to the vocal. Like the 808 should fill out in between these a lot more. So if I try to, what's up, Moscow person? Thank you for joining. See, when I bring that threshold down so that the rest of the track is loud, the vocals are like inside of my brain. So I would bring the vocals down, I'd bring the drums down, and then I'd bring everything up. You can do it another way. You can keep the drum, because there is enough headroom based on this waveform. There's enough headroom to just leave the vocals and the drums. Maybe it's better to leave them at the current volume and bring the bass and all the other stuff. I think it's mostly just bass. Yeah, I think it's mostly just, maybe it's just as simple as bringing the sub bass up. And when I say, I don't mean sub bass, I mean the whole bass, the nah, because it might be made up of numerous ones. Anyway, when it gets to the drop, I don't think we have any sidechain going on. But you have kind of this like triplet bow, ba 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 ba. That should have more dot 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 dot, more percussiveness to it. So instead of like you have this white noise that's going over the whole thing. And it's kind of ruining the dot 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 the rhythm of it, because you're kind of smearing this white noise over top of the whole thing. So what I would do is I'd modulate that white noise maybe with volume, maybe with a low pass, maybe both or something, and have it go with the da 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 da. And then you might want to try to get a little bit more of a transient at the start of the da 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 parts. And there's many ways of doing that. You could layer a little tiny drum sample each time that note hits. You can do it in the synth itself to make it more of a plucky sound. But I think that da 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 should have more da 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 instead of if that makes sense. And side chaining is going to help a lot too, because the drums just aren't really cutting through. And there's just some noises like that the accent synth sound that's happening. I like it, but it's very loud. So, okay, that's a good start. You go to the Discord channel and you just have to type it in. That's the cost of entry. And then there's a over here, feedback stream November 7th. Boom, and you put it in there. Okay, let's keep going. I sound crazy no matter what I say, so I've just come to accept that. Bang to the beat, 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 beat. I think you have a good idea here. I think this is a fun kind of almost like breaks. I think it's kind of like break beat. But if you're going to lean that heavily on the da-da-da-da-da-da synth, it better be fucking kick-ass, because that's like the main part of the... There's the vocal and the D-D-D-D-D-D sound, and they're like the main driving forces of this track. The vocal is too loud, and the D-D-D-D doesn't have enough D-D-D-D-D-D to it. So you gotta get more D-D-D-D in there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The static noise would probably work well if it was modulating in time with the D-D-D-D-D-D-D. If it was like, you know? And then I would say you're going to have to come up with some alternative part. Because it's always just kind of going, bow, D-D-D-D-D-D. Like, it needs to switch up at some point. And I'm almost thinking of like those 90s... PlayStation jungle-y kind of retro nostalgic sounds. You know, maybe it has like a chord that happens and it goes into like this little like jungle-y kind of break, and then it goes back to this. But you got to give us some other side of the coin. Right now we're only looking at one side of the coin, which is bang to the beat, na 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 na, which is cool. But you got to give us something else so that when you can get away from that for a little bit and then you can come back. And my first instinct is to go towards some sort of like jazz chord, 90s nostalgic PlayStation 1 jungle drum and bass style breakdown, and then build us back up and we get back into the bang to the beat, B, 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 D, 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 D. Yeah, that's what I think. Let's move on. This one is called K-Meyer Insert Cool Name. A lot of cool stuff happening today. Let's have a listen. Okay, so I remember this. What's up, Fred? Send one in. Let's hear what you got. I remember this, and I got a reference was it last week that you sent it in, or maybe the week before? Hold on, let me pull it up. Unless it was called something different at some point. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Where? K-Meyer. Maybe it was longer than that ago. Or maybe it was just called something different. Anyway, I think your drums are anemic, meaning they're very thin. They're short. They don't have much like banging to them. So let's see what happens if I do this. And figure out the tempo. Musically, I dig this. The drums do not fit, like, at all. You know, I don't want to be too harsh, but like, I think the drums need to be completely changed out. So let's just do that real quick and just see what we can come up with. Because like, you've got this huge bass, but like the drums just ain't hitting. So let's sidechain yours away. I'll just shift this over. Okay, and then let's do this over, whatever. It's not going to be great, but it might demonstrate the point. We're going to see. Okay, let's go kicks. Let's try this. That one might not actually be that bad. There we go. Tuna? Uploaded the tuna. Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. I'll grab it in a sec. Don't worry. I will not forget. Okay. Okay, this might be a bit too large and in charge. We're gonna try. Now that we got some kicks in, we can just easily swap between kicks with the middle mouse click over on the browser. So let's turn it down a little. That one doesn't seem too bad. Again, this is not necessarily saying this is the correct kick, but I think it's in the right direction. So now let's grab a clap. We'll grab some, you know, there's just something in my heart that always goes to vengeance for claps. I don't know why. Maybe because I really came up using vengeance samples. None of those piqued my interest. Try this one, maybe. This one's probably too small, but I don't know. Let's give it a shot. And again, I'm not trying to find the right drums for you. I'm just trying to inspire you to find a bit more juicy drums. Okay, those are too minimal house. And then there's a few elements in there, like that wow, that like phasery sound or the comb filter thing. It's so quiet, it's almost like it's just a little hint. Yeah, you wanna throw a snare in there too. Let's do a vengeance snare. Or fuck it, just vengeance all the way. Oh, let's just use a vengeance house loop. Let's try that. I hate to say it too, but I wonder what this would be like faster. A little bit faster. Okay, go for the classic. Here we go. This drum loop is straight up like, do you know how to use Ableton? Yeah, I do. I'm not like as fluent with it as I am with FL. FL just fits my workflow a lot better, but I do own it and I do use it occasionally. I'm going the wrong way. Let's just see what this loop sounds like. That reminds me of like peak Jello and Moy stuff. Anyway, none of these sound wonderful, but let's go back to the drums you had. I'll turn off the side chaining and just solo this and get rid of the ozone. So like again, the music part of this is solid. I love the music part of it. I love the synth, I love the chords, I love the melody and everything. But the drums are the biggest weak point, the weakest point. And then we kind of lost the sub bass. What happened to the sub bass here? Is it too low? What key are we in? I wonder if that's what it is. It's in C. Oof. That's tough. You might have to get away from, like, you might have to make it not as pure of a sub bass so that there's a bit more harmonics punching through, like second and third order harmonics. So what you could do is either distort your sub bass as is, or start with a saw or a square tooth and filter it down, but keep some of the harmonics. Because if you're in C, that's very low. It's very hard to have the note C come through. It's hard to see the note C when it's in a sub bass. So that's why it felt like our sub bass dropped out. I don't think it really dropped out volume wise. This is Blue Cat's. I use this all the time. I love it because it allows you to add slopes. So I add a 3 dB per octave positive slope. And that way, if we get a straight across line, we know we have a minus 3 dB per octave slope to the mix, which is kind of a good rule of thumb in order to keep all the because the way we hear sounds, something that has twice the frequency, so something that's going back and forth twice as fast, has about twice as much energy as something that's going half as fast. So it should be half as loud, amplitude wise. So that's why if you ever hear somebody talking about mixing to pink noise or anything like that, pink noise is literally just white noise with a minus 3 dB per octave slope to it. And when people mix to that, that's how you keep like your highs and lows and mids all kind of balanced. It's not a a rule that's needs to be followed all the time, but it's a good rule of thumb. I don't know how it relates to a rotary wheel, but I'm sure it does in some way. Now I got to get this lined up. There we go. Okay, let's keep going. So, yeah, the problem that I'm having with this is the key. Because see, when you go up to whatever note that is, maybe like an F or something, it definitely, when you play the first note, the C, it's almost inaudible. It's there, but it's hard to hear. And then when it goes up to the other note, then all of a sudden we're like, oh, there's the bass back. Yeah, dude, I think, like, honestly, if you could get the drums and the side chaining right on this, I think that you're going to be so much further ahead. It really is like that. You're using kind of like a trap side snare sound, and I just don't think it works well with this style. Yeah, it can do all. So there's some other, here, I'll show you some other cool features. So say you're referencing a track like a deadmau5 track, and you're like, ooh, I want to see what so what you do is you'd play it, and then you can store, so channel mix, this mixes the left and right channels, and what you can do is, okay, so I clicked A, and if I turn this on, oh, I guess I have to turn on first. There we go. So it stores whatever, when you click that A, it stores the current average frequency response in A, which I guess you can turn on and off here. I haven't done it in a while. And then what you can do is now you play your track and you can compare and contrast, how it's stacking up in a frequencies type of sense. And of course, the visual side of things should only really be there to reinforce what you're hearing with your ears. You shouldn't just basically do anything you can to make this a straight line, because you might end up going down the wrong path and making stuff sound not good in an attempt to make this a straight line. And when somebody pulls up your song on Spotify, they're not going to be looking at this and they don't care if it's a straight line. It's a rule of thumb and it's a guide, and it helps you identify, man, there's like this weird mid-range frequency, and you might be able to see a bump right here at, you can see the frequency there, you know, it's 1800, I was going to say RPM because I do car stuff now, 1800 Hertz. So it's a great tool, honestly. I think it's maybe like $100 or something like that, but it's well worth it. I use it all the time. Get over there. Anyway, okay, let's keep going. Thanks, Fred. I appreciate that. Sometimes I wonder how many hours I've listened to music analytically. But I think it's a lot. Yeah, you got to... I think my feedback on this track is basically music good, drums bad. I think that's basically it. Which is good, because that means you have two things to worry about: your kick and your clap. You need to find a good kick and a good clap, and you got to make sure they sit in the mix right. Other than that, the track sounds pretty good so far. Oh, this is an orange watch. Yeah, dude, I think the song is good. Drums, not so much. Figure it out. Okay, I hope that helps. And I'm unsure if it will. Okay, this one is called Camo Gloves Tack Hyper Flip. I can't remember if I've ever already sent this. Let's take a listen. If you think you know the answer. That's very loud right off the bat. Hold on. That wasn't on, by the way, so. If you think you know the answer, don't ask me. If you feel like fucking drowning, don't tell me. I don't think you've sent this before. I don't recognize it at all. I think the vocals are too loud. They're kind of, whoa, because they're very sharp. They're very high mid-range. Heavy. Sorry, I have the hiccups. Don't tell me when you haven't seen yourself in a few weeks. When you're crying on your bedroom floor to me. Yeah, but Fred, you got to get with the younger generation. This is how they mix now. It's like hyper pop stuff. I also think it's over compressed, and like look at that. Look at the kick. Yeah, I think it is. See, I think the holy grail of this style of music would be if you could achieve the character of the crunchiness that this has and that hyperpop has, but you can kind of reel it back to a little bit more like of a normal mix, you know, where you still have the soft. Well, I don't even know if soft clipping is really the right word for what's happening here, but. Oh wait, no, I do recognize this now. I recognize that part. Yeah, I think a good test is I think a good test to see if you've gone too far on like the hyper pop massive mastering is turn the headphones up really loud and see if your eyes water, or if your ears bleed, or if your nose bleeds, or if you have indigestion. And if you have any of those things, then maybe just like back off on the mastering just a little bit. Because I get it, I understand, and I even kind of like the sound of like the hyper pop style of mixing. But I think that this might just be a little bit too far into that side of things. It looks like, yeah, it looks like somebody hit it with the paint fill tool. So I like the track. I like the crunchiness of it, but I would try to maybe just pull it back a little bit. And I don't know, maybe reference it against some other tracks in this style, but I feel like if you do, you might be like, damn, I got to go louder, you know, because this style is built on like that. It's built on that like overly compressed, distorted, very, very loud, everything is at 11. Like that's the style of music. But if you're asking me my opinion, I would try to maintain some of that character while still allowing people to listen at a loud volume without their intestines turning. And then the next question is like, I don't know, is it going to be more than a minute and a half, or is that another hyperpop thing that people do in that genre? And I might be using hyper pop incorrectly here. This might not even be hyper pop, but that to me, that's what it sounds like. Oh, let's back it up a bit. Yeah, trap hyper pop, hyper trap pop. I don't know what it is. I think it's cool. I think you did a pretty good job. I would just try to back it off a bit. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in saying that, but that's my opinion. And that's why I said it, I guess. Okay, I don't really have any other feedback. I think it's cool besides the vocals being too loud and everything else also being too loud. Based on time here makes me think there's something wrong with my speakers. Yeah, I think it's a careful balance to get it so that it's crunchy when you want it to be crunchy, but I think it's almost like maybe the kicks can be crunchy, but the stuff in between the kicks, if they could back off a bit so that it doesn't just sound like the whole thing has a distortion effect on it. It's just kind of like the kick, or maybe the kick and the snare or something. Because I definitely hear the kick, and I don't mind the sound of the kick. It sounds kind of cool being that distorted. It's just the fact that everything else is just all of the way loud all the time. Okay, let's move on. This one's called Over Your Head.
I guess I'm in over my head. A single second to me is eternity. Time dilates in the weirdest of ways. I don't know what the hell I'm doing now. What is it? But I always seem to work it out.
Wait. Okay, so this reminds me of Coal Chamber. I can't remember if you were somebody sent something in and it was like so related to Coal Chamber. I don't know if it was you or not though. Like it was a while ago. It was probably like a month or two ago. But the vocal style on this sounds very Coal Chamber to me.
Out. Am I just in over my head? Am I just faking it to make it? Am I just simply too dumb and dead? 'Cause I know I'm in over my head.
Okay, this is sick. I really like this. And again, it's kind of like, this is very Coal Chamber. I don't know if you know who Coal Chamber is. It would be hilarious if you didn't. Because, like, let me pull up a Coal Chamber song from their album Coal Chamber. Let me find, hold on. It's, or Chamber Music. Like maybe this one.
Cynics and Christ like hypocrites, how they stick to you like glue. Jealous and thoughtless lunatics, how they stick.
Yes, I'm still alive. You know what I mean? Like, see how the vocal's very, like, it's very, like, unstable, almost like you're about to lose your fucking mind or something. So I think that, and then even like that. I mean, this is definitely way heavier and way more electronic, and I dig it. But I'm just saying, it's kind of funny if you've never heard a cold chamber, because your vocal performance is very very cold chamber vocally. That doesn't work, E-Loon. You gotta manually type it in the old way. You gotta fax me your song and I'll listen to it.
This time I think I know what I'm doing. Coming up short, that's not in my business. Maybe I can work what.
No, that doesn't work. You gotta go to the Discord and upload a file that I can download and then pull into FL Studio. Those are the rules of the road. So I really like this, and you're right. The part with the vocals are, it's a bit empty. I think the vocals are too loud in this part, and there's not like enough of like chugging, like there's no hint that it's gonna do this. So I would try to figure out how, okay, you got to upload a file that I can download. Upload the file to Discord so I can download it and not have to go find SoundCloud and all that. That's just how it works. So I would try to like figure out how, I always associate the band's knot that is called chamber music. I don't really understand that, to be honest. But I would try to figure out a way of bringing your vocals down and filling up that space that you create with something that hints towards the fact that it's going to go. Maybe like a radio affected, and you're kind of like slowly building it in or something. I just think that this part is so dope, and the vocal performance is very bold. I want more, I don't know, evilness or something from the music. It just kind of sounds like you're singing on top of ambience until it gets to the good part. So maybe try to, did my camera just glitch out, or did I have a small seizure?
Maybe I can work what is going down. And now you know that it all worked out. Am I just in over my head? Am I just...
I'd probably get rid of like the super crunchy, distorted, like, ooh, that's a good, like pinch harmonics every once in a while. That would be sick in the drop. I would probably get rid of the scratchy sound in this part. And have it vocal and the like the electric piano or whatever's underneath.
Am I just simply too dumb and deaf? 'Cause I know I'm in over my head. It's about time to show what I have learned. Oh, how the tables have turned. Who knows if...
You know what another good reference would be? I think it's called TV on... Is that what the hell it's called? Yeah. I have like 2 songs. Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not.
Is the compromise you own, but this is beginning to feel like the dog wants a bone. Say, this is beginning to feel like the dog's lost a lead. Say,
they're great. I know that yours is a lot heavier than that, but you may find some inspiration in that band's music because I feel like the vibe is kind of the same.
I know humming over my head.
Honestly, dude, I think it's pretty sick. The intro, like when the vocals first came in, I was like, wow.
A single second to me is eternity.
Now, somebody had mentioned Melodyne. Maybe. I don't think you want to completely neuter the vocals with Melodyne, but there are some moments where maybe a little bit of Melodyne, just to, you're like almost hitting the note, but you're a little flat. Like,
A single second to me.
Like that note, the me, the nee is just, it's a bit sharp and then it goes up at the end. And maybe you could try melodyning that. And again, you don't want it to sound melodyne, but there were certain moments where it was a little more like psychotic sounding, and maybe it's okay to keep it like that, but it might be worth a try if you own Melodyne, just to touch up a couple of those little spots without going too hardcore. Overall, I think it's a dope track. I think you should try to get some of like the drop elements in while you're singing, or not even, I don't know, not necessarily the drop elements, but there's just got to be more than just kind of like the droning ambience, I think. Repair work more than share work. Yeah, that's exactly right. Either way, it's dope. I really like
It's about time to show up.
It's so simple. Dun, 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 like, but it's good. It's really good. Okay, that's what I got for you. This one's called This Was Cool. Okay, so I guess it's not anymore. Okay, I like where this is going so far, but there is that frequency that really becomes quite ear-piercing right around here. That's some danger zone right there. I have some Italian Job type of tune I can send next week. So I'm not sure, I wouldn't do it in the master like this. This is just what I'm doing to relieve my ears. It's in like your synth thing that's bright and sparkly. I would go and the best way to do it would be to figure out what's causing it and stop it from happening from the get-go. But if it's kind of like you can't get the synth to sound quite right without the settings the way they are, then you might be able to go in and in the track that synth is going through and just pull some like around the 3,000 to 4,000 I keep saying RPM. The next thing is, I think that you are trying to be louder than you're currently able to be. I think that this sounds like it's hitting one or more limiters in an undesirable way. Let me make sure that one of those isn't mine. Okay, good. Yeah, I think this is not the type of track, at least so far, that needs to be all loud, all of the loudness. This doesn't have to be as loud as possible. It can chill out, because at the end of the day, so far, this track to me feels more like a listening style of track. When you're trying to get things loud, 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 it's usually because you want it to fit into a DJ set with other loud, loud, loud tracks, right? But this track feels a bit more ambient, a bit more thought provoking, if you will, intellectual. It's less like da-da-da, 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 and you want it to mix well with another track. Now, I like the chord progression and the melody and the synth parts. I like what it's doing, but I feel like doing it twice, there's not enough new information for me to be like, yes, new stuff for me to listen to. I feel like I'm waiting for the next section to happen. And when you think about listening to a song that you love, you're not really waiting necessarily for the next section. You're enjoying the moment that you're currently listening to. Even if you love the chorus like the chorus is your favorite part, you usually you're enjoying the verse and the build up and the intro and the outro. That's a good song that you can enjoy the whole thing to. Now, you kind of did the same thing 2 times in a row. And I know maybe there's been some filters opening up and things are getting louder and maybe the drums changed slightly. But this section from like here to, I'm assuming here, I haven't listened all the way yet, but it sounds like it's about 2 times as long as it should be, because I heard the whole thing and now I feel like I'm hearing the whole thing again. So I would either cut it down in length or figure out how to give us new value halfway through to keep our attention, to keep us engaged in the song. Otherwise, people are just going to be like, they'll either skip forward in the song or they'll skip the song altogether. And as it stands right now, especially when you combine it with that 3 kilohertz like ringing resonant sound that's hard on the ears, I think that people would probably at least skip forward past this section. It's not that the music is bad. It's just that you have a really ringing, this goes on my YouTube channel. You can just watch it again if you want. But anyway, this ringing sound is kind of aggravating when you listen to it loud and for a long period of time, where it's constantly sitting there dingling, dangling, ringing and wrangling in your ears. So that's already kind of making me a little, I don't want to say irritated, because then it sounds like you're irritating me with your music, but like it's kind of irritating my ears. And now I'm kind of waiting, subconsciously hoping that sound will go away when we get to like the next section, but the next section hasn't come yet. So anyway, okay, let's keep going. See, this part is cool. I like this part, but I'm not really sure if all of this is necessary. Like, this is cool. What headphones do you use? Because yeah, maybe or maybe you're kind of you're deaf to it now because you've heard it so much. But I'll tell you exactly the frequency. I'm pretty sure it was like 3,500 RPM or something. Oh my god, 3,500 hertz. I could. Oh shit! I keep saying. Yeah, I know. 3,900 hertz. 3,900 hertz. That's the frequency. This part's pretty cool. But see, I start to hear that ringing come back. So there's something that's like, has this super resonant thing. Yeah, right at 3,900. You don't want to see how its frequency response looks like. What do you mean? Now, one thing I did notice too is like right here, it sounds a little dull, and you can kind of see it being represented on the frequency analyst over here. So let's see what happens if I just like straight up and give it a big high shelf. Do I have a high shelf? Do I have to add one? There we go. I think it's so cool how you can see, I mean, obviously you can see it, but when it starts playing, that little resonant peak. Anyway, okay, let's keep going. This is not a typical style of music. I don't even know really what to call this, and that's not a bad thing. It's just, when I try to give feedback, I try to make sure that it's in the proper context. You know, if you're making a dubstep track and it's very distorted, I might say something different than if you're making a jazz track and it's very distorted. So I'm kind of trying to keep an open mind here, because this is just, it's an interesting, it's kind of like, it's almost like soundtrack kind of stuff, or like video game, or I don't know. Let's keep going. So I think one thing you should try is you keep going so like that. It never quite goes four to the floor. It's do the whole time, and that kind of builds tension, because we're almost with all of the choppy 16th note we're almost expecting to get like a 4 to the floor, and because you never quite give us a 4 to the floor beat, there's this tension that remains. And I feel like at some point you should use that to your advantage. You've been building up tension of do ka, do ka. Build it up, and then give us the full-on, like almost like cyberpunk style mid-tempo 4 to the floor kick, snare, or kick and snare, kick and snare, kick and snare, kick and snare. I think that would be a great moment, because we're, as listeners, we're kind of subconsciously expecting that. We're expecting to get a snare on the 2 and 4, not on the 2 and the 3.5 or whatever. So that's a cool tool that you could use. That's a cool tool to like give us some satisfaction, or like resolve that tension at some point. I do like this section the best so far, because it has the guitar thing, even though I'm sure it's not a real guitar, but it sounds pretty dope. I like that part. Well, the thing is, if you're building the tension all the way to the ending, that's kind of, I'm trying to not use a crude example. You can have numerous tensions resolved throughout the track. You don't have to wait until the end and then it resolves at the end only. You can build the tension up, resolve it. Build the tension up, resolve it. Build the tension up even bigger and resolve it. You know, it doesn't have to, the whole track, because the whole thing is, or if you keep the tension on the whole thing, you might lose people because they might just feel like, this doesn't feel right to me. You know, like they might not be able to explain it, but they might be like, there's something kind of making me feel on edge about this. But it's up to you, obviously. I would probably build that tension up and resolve it a couple times throughout the track. The next thing I'm going to say is, let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, we got something else going here. I kind of feel like the melody is maybe overstaying its welcome. It's being used a lot, the ding, 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 ding. This part is the best part by a long shot. I would use this like back here, you know? I don't know. I don't really agree with like saving the best for last because you might lose people before they even get to the last. So you might not even people might not even ever hear this. But this is the coolest part by far. I'd probably structure the song around that and have these other sections and these other parts enforcing it. What's it called when you support it? So I don't know. I know it's a bit of a restructuring of the whole song, but I would probably use this as the main part. It's not to say that the rest of the track isn't good, but when you compare it against this, it doesn't, like, this is kind of objectively by far the best part of the song. And I want to say in my opinion, but then that would kind of cancel out the objective part. Anyway, I don't know, dude. I would maybe consider saving it as a new file and structuring the song and giving this to the listeners way sooner, not 3 minutes into the song. Like, build up and hit us with that, and then come out of it and build some tension with these other parts. Build, tension, and back to that, but maybe it's slightly different this time. And now all of a sudden you're building tension and you're resolving it. You're building tension and resolving it. I don't know. That was a whole bunch of words. I hope some of them were helpful in some way. Let's move on. We got Sizzy, Take My Energy. Zetmo Flip. Sounds like a dishwasher is a fucking hilarious thing. Okay, hold on. Let me grab this. That's an interesting catch, Cody. I didn't hear that. I'm not easier in the track. Oh, that high. No. Yeah, I think maybe it's the wrong note, or maybe it's just so detuned that it sounds like the wrong note, but it's worth looking into because, yeah, I hear what you're saying now. When it goes up to that, yeah. On SoundCloud, it sounded different. Really? It's so incredibly loud in the high, mids, and above. Like, I get it. Again, it's kind of like that hyperpop thing, right? But it's so loud. Can it just be not quite as loud, especially like up in those harsh frequency ranges? I feel like it could maybe be it could probably be that loud during the drop, but like, I don't know. Even in the drop, like the crazy color, like sound is kind of overwhelmingly loud, and it's hard on the ears at loud volume. So it's another one of those things where you kind of have to weigh, like, how aggressive do I want this to hit versus how aggressive do I want my listeners' ears to bleed? And it's always a bit of a compromise. Yeah, I don't know. I like what's underneath it, but I just think it goes a little too hard in the high mids. I think if you dialed it back, it wouldn't really lose much of its power, but it would just be a little easier on the ears. I do like it. I thought maybe the intro was a bit long because once it got to I was kind of rocking, and up until then I was kind of bleeding from my ears. So I don't know, especially leading up to the drop, maybe just pull it back a little bit. And even during the drop, I think it's mostly just one of those elements. That's the sound. I think it could just come down a bit, and everything in that high mids and above, like that 3000 and above, it just feels too loud to me. But take it with a grain of salt because I know it's a style thing. So, okay, that's what I got. Where am I now? Was that one? Yes. Okay. So we're at Project 57. Let's have a listen. This one's short. Okay. I think that you should cut the intro down in half. I think that's better. Cut the intro down in half. And now you could do it the other way too. Like if you wanted, because I know you added some elements. So what you can do is cut. I can find the halfway mark here. So. Right here. So if you cut the first of the first half and the last of the last half, which I believe is right here, and you get rid of the middle. This is a trick I always used to do when I was working on TV stuff. then you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get the base, you get the very beginning being basic, and then you get a bit more complexity. So I would do that, and then I wouldn't touch any of this until you figure out what the hell you're going to do with your drop, or whatever the next section is. Because I think right now, the best advice I could give you is to finish writing the song and then produce it and mix it and master it and fix it and, you know, all the stuff you do technical wise. But right now you got a really fun beginning to something that sounds like it could be like almost like a Japanese, like, I can't remember the style of music. It's almost like, it's not glitch hop, but it could be kind of glitch. I don't know. Whatever it is, you got to write the next spot. Write the next spot. Fix this, which is super easy. I shouldn't say fix. That would imply that this is objectively the right thing that you should do. Try this, and if you think it sounds proper, then fix it in that way. And then write the rest of the song. Cool. All right, let's check out Fred's. Moy and Dem Slackers. Contact from outer space. Thank you for clarifying where the contact was coming from. Let me make sure I don't. Okay, let's have a listen. Okay, so everything up to here was cool. The build, when it drops, it doesn't necessarily capitalize on the build. Like the build was almost like more energy than the drop. So I would either chill out on the build a little bit, or maybe as the build's reaching the end, it kind of back down and then we get the drop or something. But right now, as it stands, the drop is a little bit disappointing energy wise because it was built up so wall of full spectrum sound, and then it kind of goes to a simple but not super beefy drop. I almost wonder if you didn't do the swoosh on the drop, at least at the start, whether it would work better. Because then you would kind of be leaning into the simplicity of it. You'd be leaning into the dialed back kind of chill, plucky thing with the big LMFAO, you know, swoosh or whatever. It just kind of maybe is a bit conflicting because I'm like, is this supposed to be a hands up moment or a bit of an introspective moment? I don't think you need to re-render. I mean, we can just move on and you can try it and maybe it's good, maybe it's not. But I think at the end of the day, it's just the dynamic of how it's building me up and how it delivers, how it's building the anticipation inside of me, and then how it delivers on it just doesn't really, it's not as good as it could be. Musically, it's solid. And then when it gets in here with the shakers and shit, now it sounds definitely very groovy. And then if you didn't use the swoosh at the start of the drop and you used it there, that would be like an extra pickup because we didn't get it the first time and we got it the second time. wonder I really like the chord progression, which isn't surprising because you always have really spicy, tasty chord progressions. But there's the dun 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 dun. There's a bit of a melody there, but it's quite subdued. I wonder if you bring in like a lead synth or something that it's really driving home, or it just makes the melody more tangible. Right now, the melody is a bit ethereal. It's a bit kind of implied. It's like we have to make it up in our head based on the little hints that you're giving us. So if you could make it more explicit with like a synth lead or something. Is that a Prida snare? Man, I haven't heard one of those in a while. Imagine being such a prolific producer that you have like a snare named after you. And then overall, I would say during your drops, I feel like there's too much, what's the word? Atonal sounds, like all the effects and stuff. It almost sounds like there's more effects than there are instrumentation in the drops. It's because you just have like all these crazy swooshes and swashes and swiddles and swaddles and stuff happening. And those can be very useful, but I find that like we just kind of always have white noise either building or shrinking. Either okay, it's either building, it's swelling or de-swelling. So we either have white noise swelling or de-swelling like the entire time, and it's quite loud too. And I feel like it's hiding a lot of the tasty bits in the track. So it's not that it's not that you can't use swells and anti-swells or whatever the word I came up with was. But I just feel like in this, it's just rising or falling. Thank you. That's actually a great way of putting it. I don't know why. What did I say? Rising and anti-rising. Anyway, I just think the frequency and loudness of your effects just seem to be sitting on top of everything. Because I like the string thing, right? But the string thing is almost, it feels like it's in the background as like just a little, here you go, here's a little string thing. But to me, it's almost driving the melody the most. Because especially in that build-up section where I was talking about the melody, I think it was a build-up section. Anyway, where I was talking about the melody, the strings were playing the melody, but they were just so kind of in the background that they didn't feel confident. It didn't feel like it was confidently delivering the melody to us. Yeah, it's a cool track. It's groovy. I like that, the alternating like bell sound. Yeah, I think it's good, man. Anyway, try those things out and keep going. It's dope. Okay, This one's called Sorry for It All. Well, that's sad. Doing a Christmas thing. You should hide like Jingle Bells melody in there somewhere. Kashmir doesn't really offer much. Dude, I haven't bought drums in so long because my drum library that I've built over the past like 20 years is just so full of everything. But I don't know what all the cool kids are using these days. I know Vengeance for like electro stuff usually works quite well. I like the Black Octopus. Wave Alchemy is pretty good as well in terms of like companies, not necessarily packs. But I don't know, just go on like Loop Masters or Prime Loops or Wave Alchemy, I think has their own website. And just like, yeah, Wave Alchemy is really good. I would maybe check out Wave Alchemy and maybe buy like a classic Vengeance electro kit. You know, it's kind of tough because if you use a lot of the loops from the Vengeance, they're like, isn't that a Katy Perry song? Like there's so many very extremely recognizable drum loops in the Vengeance stuff that you hear in like popular dance music from the 2000s and 2010s. But I still think they're one shots, like the kicks and they're undeniably good samples. They're just overused, or at least they used to be. It might not be the case anymore.
Hold on.
God, I played it halfway through. All right, let's check this out.
Couple bruises through the night, I guess that's just life. I could say the same with a couple people that I think are just alright. We brought it back with the turmoils, had us thinking we might not survive another night. Church service, feeling nervous cause I'm a victim of sin. So often than not, I let the temptations win. Sitting in this Pentecostal, questioning everything. My faith, my friends, he bends lows and highs. The people I let down just so I could get me right. I don't feel bad about it cause you left like the rest. I never got nowhere being pleasing, so I do them like they did me. But is it demeaning and bringing me closer to the demon? I need to know the reason for all these questions leaning. Feels like my personality tweaked just to balance on the beam.
So I really dig this. The sample rate is very low and it's audibly audible. I can hear it with my ears, which makes it audible. The skin and negativity give me. Like it kind of sounds like you have a lisp, but I'm pretty sure it's because it's 126 kilobits per second, which is, first of all, a very strange number. We've been getting a lot of, didn't we get like 187 kilobits per second? Like I feel like we've had some strange sample rates these days. But easy fix, just don't render it out as a shitty MP3, render it out as a less shitty MP3, like a 320. And seriously, a 320 sounds good. If you double blind tested, I don't even know if double blind is really applicable in this situation, but if you blind tested even like the best music producers and you showed them a wave in a 320, I'm not confident that any of them would, with any level of accuracy, they might, if they're guessing, they might just guess right, but you show them 100 songs and you show them the MP3 and the wave, I don't think they're getting a large percentage of it correct. So at 320 kilobit per second MP3, yes, it does sound different than a wave, but it doesn't sound that different from a wave. So this was a very long way of saying don't render it as a crappy MP3.
Looking to get even. Sorry for it all I did, but you let me down, so I did. God forbid we go on like this. This better be the end of the ship, cause I can't keep you around like this. Sorry for it all. Sorry for it all. So sorry for it all. Spinning circles and jumping hurdles, mind on 10, trying to close the loose ends, seeking control of certain things, had me feeling more pain, so I medicate, smoking the better half of my brain away. I humble myself before the Lord, deep nights where I take myself away from the world. All these questions did impression, been swirled to let down the mind in a world that's been asking too much. Can we just rewind? See the talks with the spirit, free line. Johnny Cash walked the line. I'm looking for a peace of mind and a bind to grind with the free time. But let me remind, I also put in so much work with these relationships. It feels like they're sucking on my free time. But after crashes happen, now we really off the line. Do I walk it now? I'm really John.
The only reason, I'm just going to interrupt this for a sec. This flow is great. This track is honestly great besides the crappy MP3. But the song itself is sick. I wasn't a huge fan of the intro. It's just, I'm not a huge fan of the delivery of the vocal thing on the intro. Besides that, the rest of the track was fucking fire. Anyway, let's talk about the sample bit depth for a second. So one reason to use something besides 16-bit, like 24-bit or 32-bit or whatever, is if you are rendering something out that's quiet, like if you're stemming something out, if you don't stem it, if you say you have like this really quiet kind of ambient sound, if you stem it out at 16-bit, especially if you use dithering, because dithering is literally adding noise, that's the whole point of it. If you export it as a 16-bit and it's tiny in amplitude, and then say you want to turn it up later, you're turning up that noise floor a lot. So with a chunky, a piece of audio that's like this, you're not going to turn it up at all. Even if there was 3 or 4 dB of headroom or 10 dB of headroom, you're turning it up 10 dB to get it full scale. But if you give me something that is minuscule, tiny little audio waveform, well, that the signal is getting closer to the level of the noise. So your signal to noise ratio goes down. And then when you have to add 60 dB of gain to bring it up to a proper volume, that noise also gets 60 dB of gain, and you can hear the hiss of especially again if it's dithered. The dithering, all the dithering does is it blurs the noise. It blurs the quantization. So you don't hear the quantization, but you hear the noise. So like it's just a way of, it's making the noise less periodic, so you don't hear the sample rate or you don't hear the square stair stepping. It's more random, but it's still adding noise. It's adding a hiss. It's adding artifacts that you don't want. So that's why you would use 24-bit when you export a stem, because usually when you're exporting a stem, each stem isn't going to be mastered. So it's going to be usually pretty small unless you're somehow mixing everything super, super loud. But anyway, long story short, I would export at 24-bit if you're stemming things out, or if you have a very quiet, maybe audio recording of you talking or something. That's when that stuff matters. When it's a fully mastered track like this, 16-bit, again, showing somebody 16-bit versus 24-bit, if they could tell the difference reliably 100 tracks in a row, I would be extremely surprised. Only dithering. Yeah, I don't even think dithering, I don't think dithering matters. I don't think dithering is, and maybe that's wrong of me, but I'm a very practical person, and I've never had a practical experience where dithering has done anything except added a noise floor to a quiet stem by accident, and then I had to re-render it without dithering. So now dithering in like, if you had like 8-bit, 16-bit's pretty good. If you get down to 8-bit or 4-bit or some really low bit depth, then all of a sudden dithering might make more sense. 32-bit doesn't clip, so always use that. I don't know if 32-bit doesn't clip. I think I don't know about that. You can also, 24-bit, because why not? Sure. I mean, like we're not putting stuff on floppy disks anymore. To be honest, I don't really understand the science behind 32-bit doesn't clip. Let's see if Google can explain it to me. Does 32-bit audio clip? I've heard that before. It doesn't clip the same way as traditional 16 because it's a massive dynamic range. Yeah, so it's just giving you more dynamic range. You can still clip it, but yeah. Anyway, back to the song.
Act as though nothing ever happened. Okay, what happened? Hold on. What happened? Sorry for it all I did, but you let me down. That's what I did. God forbid we go on like this. It's better be.
it's clip, but it saves all dynamic. I don't think that's accurate. I think what it is there's just so much dynamic range that you have a better chance of not clipping because there's just way more possible values that waveform can be. Like 32, what's 2 to the power of 32? I should know this. It's a lot. Let's see. 2 to the power of 32. Oh my God. Okay, that's million. It's 4 trillion. 4.3 trillion possible values. That's a lot. But I don't think it stops it from clipping. Again, it just gives you a larger, if you think of clipping as like you've got a top and a bottom rail and you're hitting the top and bottom, well, 32-bit makes way more values between the top and the bottom so you can turn the volume down. I don't know. I've heard it before, and I've heard exactly what you're saying. I've heard it, but I never understood it because I don't deal with 32-bit audio because I'm not a audiophile. But I think that's what it is. I think it's just such a massive amount of values that there's just more room for more dynamics. Anyway, let's get back to this song. So it's hard to tell because honestly, the low bit rate of this file is really fucking with his voice. I think it's a little heavy on reverb. I think the reverb is a bit like wow in my face. I would check out a band called Manila Grey. So essentially, just auto clips can be positive because it's a float. Yeah, but a float, that's not really how a float works. Like, the float just means the decimal point can move around. I still don't know, so I can't say you're wrong, but I don't think that's what it is. Anyway, this is a song, or this is a band that I used to work with that you should use as a reference for this. For like, so it's kind of the same kind of like sexy sing rapping kind of thing. I would use them as a reference, but I don't really have a whole lot of feedback for this track because the audio quality is kind of bad. You can literally check it out and make something go above 0 renders 32 and drag down the audio game place, and you see the flow just means the decimal value, at least in the coding world. Yeah, that's what I'm coming at it from too, is the coding side of things. But hey, if you can, like you said, literally check, it's interesting. And again, I don't pretend to know. I'm just trying to apply my knowledge from coding to it. I'm not really quite sure how it applies. Anyway, to tie up the song, sorry to whoever sent this in. I don't know who sent it in, for getting so sidetracked while listening to your song. But, the intro, I just think that the slurry kind of humming is maybe a bit egregious or a bit too much. I really like the rest of the track, but I think you went a little heavy-handed on the reverb. Next time you send something in, make sure it's at least a 320 kilobit so that I can hear and give you proper feedback. But I think the reverb is a bit heavy on the vocals. Okay, let's move on. I don't want to call myself a programmer, but I do write code for embedded systems for my automotive products. And it's probably, if you saw it, although I will say there's a comment on just about every fucking line. All right, let's have a listen to this. For Intergalactic Event, C major. So I think what you've got going on here is fine, but I would probably do a little bit of world building with some ambience and some ear candy and some, stuff happening. Is it pitched down? Is this your track? I didn't do anything. I normalized it, which turned it up slightly, but there's nothing in the master bus. Is it rendered wrong? Is that not right? Anyway, let me know, because you can re-render it. I'll move on and come back to it if you want. Let's do that. I don't know that. Oh, okay. But did the rest of it sound okay? Okay. All right. Render it and sender it. Let's move on to 3005 Eloon Remix.
Okay. Hold up, wait a minute. All good just a week ago. Crew at my house and we party every weekend. So on the radio, that's my favorite song. Make me bounce around like I don't know, like I won't be here long. Hold up, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. Oh.
Okay, so the first thing I would say is, I wouldn't do this intro for that long, because it's kind of like plinky and like kind of dinky, but in a good way. But we don't get that until the kind of the badass. It sounds like Childish Gambino. I don't know if that's like the original sound or the original or not, but I would like.
Okay. Hold up, wait a minute. All good.
And then I agree that like I would agree that the arpeggio it's too sharp. So especially when his vocal comes in, I would maybe not like a crazy low pass where you can really hear that it's a low pass, but like a very gentle slope. Bring it down and kill some of the high frequencies of the arpeggiator so that the vocal can cut through better.
Hold up, wait a minute. All good just a week ago. Crew at my house and we party every weekend. So on the radio, that's my favorite song. Make me bounce around like I don't know, like I won't be here long. Hold up, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute.
And then you could have it full open for like 1 bar at the intro. Don't do that really long intro that you had. Do like a 1 bar full open, and then you close it down, let the vocal come in and take over, and slowly open the filter up as you're getting closer to like what I'm assuming is going to be a drop or some major part of the song.
Hold up, wait a minute. 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 All good. No matter what you say, what you do, I'm no longer ever be with you.
I don't think you're are you side chaining the arpeggiator? Doesn't sound like it to me. I would. One sec. I'm now too warm. Guess I can turn my space heater off. There we go. Yeah, I would side chain the arpeggiator if you aren't already.
No matter what you say, what you do, I'm no longer ever be with you. Fuck these other niggas, I'll be right by your side till 2005. Hold up.
Another thing I would say is like when you drop, maybe get rid of the arpeggiator. You got to understand that arpeggiator is like, it's such an attention grabbing whore, which is okay when you have attention to give to it. But when the vocals are there or the drop happens, it just takes up so much brain capacity to listen to the whole time, right? So I think bringing it out of certain parts of the song and letting like other parts have a moment to shine and then bring it back in and use it, sprinkle it. You know, it's almost like sprinkle, you know how you can get those colorful sprinkles that you put on ice cream? Well, you want to just like sprinkle it on. You don't want to take the whole jar and like, you know, and then get another jar and put it on too. I think that arpeggiator, you have to use it sparingly because it is quite something. I can't figure out the word is. But anyway, like at the start of this drop.
No matter what you say, what you do, I'm no longer ever be with you. These other niggas, I'll be right by your side till 2005. Hold up. 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 Make me bounce around like
Yeah, like this part is sick. And I think part of the reason is because the arpeggiator isn't there. And it's got some six, like, it's good on its own merits. But I think the fact that that arpeggiator went away was kind of like a relief to us. And that's not to say that the arpeggiator is bad. It's just, it should be used sparingly because it's so rich in flavor.
No matter what you say, make me bounce around like. Bounce around like I won't be here long. Make me bounce around like. Make me bounce around like. No matter what you say, what you do.
It's almost like I maybe you just lose this section. I wonder if that section really is necessary. Let's find out where the reload. Okay, I think this is maybe, and then.
Okay. Okay.
And then let's line this up with that, like so. Reload. Oh, sorry, right here. Reload. Like maybe this is a better move. Oh, that's fine.
A minute, all good. Okay.
I think that's a better arrangement. That other section that was in there, I don't know, maybe it makes sense with the original song or something, but like that to me gets to the good stuff faster. Let's listen to it from the start again.
Okay. Hold up, wait a minute. All good just a week ago. Crew at my house and we party every weekend. So on the radio, that's my favorite song. Make me bounce around like I don't know, like I won't be here long. Hold up, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. Oh, hold up, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. All good.
Yeah, I think that arrangement's better. It's kind of like objectively better. I think probably what happened was as you were like writing it, it made sense. But then as you wrote the whole thing, you just kind of got used to the way it was, / probably if you're like me, you're kind of too lazy to be like, fuck, I got to delete all that shit out. Or maybe you didn't even consider it. But I do think that that arrangement is better. So yeah, I mean, like, basically chill out on the arpeggiator thing, cut the intro way down, get rid of that section, and boom. I think it's good. Yeah, I saw the one. I'm downloading it, and for some reason, it's going very, very, very slow. Like, maybe I should try. I'm gonna just try restarting those 3 downloads and see what happens. Okay, this guy. Save. Did that do anything, or did I shoot myself in the foot? Is the sound design in the 2 drop okay with you? What do you mean the 2 drop? Or like the 2 drops? Yeah, I think somebody said something about it being too mono. 2nd drop. Okay. Oh, good. I'm not sure which is the 2nd drop anymore. That one right there? Yeah, because that section didn't really feel like a drop to me. It felt a little thin, like it was part of the build. Although I may agree with you that some stuff is too mono, I would not put a stereo separator on it. I think that's dirty. I think that's a dirty way of doing it. I'd find more creative ways of getting some stereo image in, you know, whether you use like a short room reverb or some unison or maybe chorus, but chorus is still kind of getting close to like a stereoizer plugin. Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know, I didn't have any issues with the sound design. I thought the sound design was good throughout the track. I mostly had issues with the arpeggiator and the arrangement, but we've been over that. So, okay, that's what I think. Cool. Let's check this out while we're waiting for the others to download. For some reason, they're downloading super slow, which is weird because my upload's okay, which is the most important part. But anyway, okay, here we go. This one's called Nephgenizer Mad Waltz. Okay, this is very heavy, and I did a speed test. My download speed is fine. I think it's like a Discord problem to download it through Discord. It's like going so slow. 4 minutes left to download 3 megabytes. Don't know what that speed works out to, but it's not a lot. Anyway, okay, so I feel like this is very heavy, and I like that, but it feels very... Let's have a look on the spectrum. Yeah, I think it's like it's very, very compressed and limited and like wah, and that's okay, but this kind of frequency range up here just seems to be really harshening my vibes. I think it's mostly in the detuned, almost sounds like somebody plucking the strings of a piano, whatever that sound is, and the snare. Both have a lot of this area in it. If we just solo that. See, like, if I kill that way down and then give it a bit of a high-end boost to kind of compensate for these higher frequencies I've removed, I'm not saying this is the right move, but it demonstrates if I go back and forth between that and not that. So like this kind of kills it down too much. But if you went into those instruments, if you identified which tracks had too much of that, 3 to 6, maybe 3 to 10 kilohertz, maybe bring that down. Yeah, it was because of my non-linear mixing in the M20s. I'm thinking of remastering my old stuff. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, the three people. So I got OTT, amps, and LP. Can you send me like Dropbox links or something? Because it's just Discord is not giving me data. It's trying to, it's almost, but it just ain't, it's not giving it to me. So maybe try to send it to me some other way. Sure. Yep. Send me a SoundCloud link and make it downloadable. This part is the coolest part of the song, I think. It has a bit more melody. Is there any way you can send it to me any other way? Dropbox, WeTransfer, Google Drive link, put it on your own NAS, storage drive and send me an FTP link, put it on a floppy disk and mail it to me FedEx, ultra high-end priority instant delivery option, whatever. I don't know. Anyway. What I think I would do with this is this part where it gets like a bit more melodic. There's a bit more of a melody happening. I would pull back the complexity and the distortion and the hatred and focus a bit more on the melodic side of things so that you can have both to play with. You can have like this slightly more melodic yet still menacing section, and then you can like build it up and hit us with the hatred again. I don't know. That's probably what I would do because I like what I'm hearing under this. But there's like a barrage of hatred that's on top of it that's stopping me from really hearing like the melody. First half is leading to drop is first half, like going to drop in second is the drop. That's one of the most confusing sentences I've read all day. I'm sorry, I played the other song at the same time. That was my bad. I'm trying to figure out how to download this. Okay, there we go. Got it. Let's see if this downloads fast. Yep. So it's just like it's a Discord thing. There must be like a Discord degradation or something. Yeah, like, so this has like a lot of hatred, and that's cool, but I feel like the hatred is extending into the mix, and the mix is a bit too like everything sounds like it's in the red kind of thing. I don't have a VPN, so it's a moot point. But whoever else wants to send something, send it. I guess I'll unlock this so that you can post in it. I did get the one from the SoundCloud. So overall, I think that this has a lot of anger and hate, and I would probably turn off the mastering, and I try to get the mix sounding good before I made it sound loud, and then I would work on getting it to sound loud, because right now it sounds like it's as loud as possible at all cost. And I don't think that's necessarily servicing it in the best way. Direct download enabled on the SoundCloud. Was it amps that I grabbed already? No. Okay, but did you send the link, or where's the link? Oh, DMs. Okay. Message request, amps. Okay, gotcha. All right, I will grab this one. Download this track, it says. Let's go. Okay, while we're waiting for that to download, I found this that I forgot existed. Check this out. I wanted to show you. It's a techno remix of Existentia that I made at some point. I have zero recollection of making it, but it's pretty dope. I don't think it's finished. I think I made it for a DJ set years ago, but It's just like 8 minutes of me saying, "Is it real?" Yeah, it's just like a dumb techno banger. I honestly have zero recollection making that. I do not remember making that at all, but I can tell by the production that I did make it. So I don't know how to feel about that. Yeah, it is a meaty kick. I agree. All right. Anyway, so I've grabbed the two. I think there was one other person. Was it Shar? No, that's. Oh, it was LP with the new version of the Intergalactic. Let's try to download it now and see if maybe me saying in my tracks like, oh, it downloaded it fine. Okay, I got all the tracks now. Hooray. Okay, let's check out. Wait, we already checked this one out. So we're going to check out this one. No sample was harmed in the making of this song. I don't know how to say a T and a J next to each other, to be honest. Do I just ignore the J or do I ignore the T? Because I feel like I can't say both at the same time. I feel like I have to pick one or the other. Jorbor? Jorbor? Is it Jorbor? I really want to put that in my sets. Yes, I will. As long as you can tell me how to say your name. That's the cost. Anyway, let's listen.
Den Bass wie ein Erdbeben fallen. Dreh den Bass hoch. Lass den Bass fallen. Jetzt geht's los.
So, okay, so far what I think about this track is it's fucking very groovy. It's got me dancing, but I'm missing kind of a main theme. It's all wacky, and wacky is fun and good, and crazy zips and zaps and eras. That's all good, but I feel like I'm missing like a motif or like something that ties all of this together and can be the anchor for us while we're listening to it. Because right now, it's like everything I'm hearing is crazy and sounds good and I'm like bumping to it, but I'm struggling to relate to it, if that makes sense. I'm struggling to identify with what's going on in the track because it's just like a solid like house beat with a bunch of stuff. And maybe that's not a problem, but that's kind of that's the only thing that's come to my head so far in terms of like constructive criticism is that it just seems like we went to a buffet. I don't know why I always go to food. We went to a buffet and there's like pizza and sushi and salsa by itself with no chips. And there's just like, there's all these unrelated food objects all crammed together. And I like all of those things. But when I leave that experience, when I leave that buffet, do I feel like I could explain to somebody what the buffet was like besides saying it was crazy? maybe that's not a problem, but that is how I'm feeling about this. There's so many tasty treats, but I'm trying to figure out what that main tasty treat is. I haven't hydrated once, but I drink a lot of water, so don't worry.
Jetzt halt doch mal die Schnauze!
Du legst jetzt das Handy weg.
Yeah, I get the mashup thing, but I think you can still pull it back together by having like one main sample that comes back. It's like a reoccurring theme. You could still have all the crazy mashup and everything, but if we have kind of a home base, like the way I think about it is the home base, and just to tie it into food, we'll say it's a restaurant. So we have this restaurant, right? Now, a typical song might exist in the restaurant, in the parking lot of the restaurant, in the building next to the restaurant, and then back to the restaurant. And it's just doing these things all close to the restaurant. Now, what this could be is you got the restaurant, it's the home base. Then you go over to Walmart and you spend some time at Walmart. Then you go over to Home Depot and then you come back to the restaurant. And now, okay, we're back to the restaurant. Good. We know this. We can rock out to this. We know this. Now, let's go, instead of going to Walmart, let's go to the Great Canadian Dollar Store. And then from there, we're going to go to Joe's house. And then we're going to go back to the restaurant because that's our home base. And we're back to the restaurant. That's what I'm saying. It kind of, if it's all wacky, then you're just constantly having your mind blown in the same way. But if you sprinkle in something that it comes back to, then you get the satisfaction of being like, oh, fuck, it's this part. Hell yeah. And then once that part's over, whoa, we're going off into this other adventure. But we always have like this home base that we can attach and anchor ourselves to. That's kind of where my mind is at. It's not saying that's what you need to do with this style of music. You can keep it all wacky all the time. But I think if you could keep all the wackiness, but still have some sort of anchoring theme, it probably would, I don't know. I just think it would be a stronger song in general. This would still bang in a DJ set for sure, you know? So I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying it needs to change. It's just what came to my mind. Wow. Like, I think you might kind of be doing that because I've heard that before, that kind of like disco-y, housey stuff. So you are kind of doing it. Maybe it could just be a little bit more apparent or a little bit more in my face that like this is the theme. Maybe it needs to happen a little bit more frequently to remind me that this is this song. Because right now, if this was in a DJ set, I probably would be like, wow, I really enjoyed those last 5 songs, you know? I think it's probably mastered a bit much. Like you can really hear it when those cymbals hit. I would if the cymbals aren't side chained, I would side chain them. But even still, like you can kind of tell it's a little too crunchy, especially when those cymbals hit because you can hear the kick drum and the bass interacting with the cymbals. Thanks, Maddie on Twitch. I appreciate that.
Disconnection.
Dude, this is kind of like ADHD in a song. Did you do that with Melodyne? When you scrub through the... Anyway, I think it's a sick track. I would try to put a little bit of structure in the chaos just a little bit without losing too much of the chaos. And I'd probably lighten up on the mastering just a little bit. Yes. Some questions and shit about if I love those tunes, gang. But I've DM'd some questions and shit about the submission. Thanks for listening. Yes. Newtown. Oh, Newtown. Okay, cool. All right, let me pull up the last. I think I have 2 more. And yeah, I'll send you that just a sec. I'm gonna get one loaded up and then I'm gonna play it and I'll send it to you because I'll forget otherwise. So we got the new version of the Intergalactic. Let's pull this over. And then the other one, oh motherfucker, it's still downloading. Allegedly. Oh wait, Shock Lab song number, I don't know. Oh, never mind. That one is right here. Okay, I got them. All right, let's play this one and have a listen, and I will send you that. So I don't know about this intro. To me, it's okay. It kind of sounds like an intergalactic event for sure, but I don't really, it just kind of does its thing and then like bows out. It doesn't really tie in with what I'm assuming is the rest of the song. It might tie in melodically or whatever, but to me, the song starts here. Not there. Here. So the next thing I'm hearing is that kick drum is very kind of dated. It sounds, it's not, I don't know. It just sounds a little too like, it's like a 909 clone. I tried to send you the song, but it gave me an error. It says your message cannot be delivered for some reason. Ooh, I like this part. So I think what I would recommend you do is try to download some top drum loops, because it's not that you can't make top drum loops out of single shot one hits like you're doing here. Oh, okay, add you as a friend. There we go. Send song and remove. I'm not going to go out of my way to remove you as my friend. Anyway, yeah, it's not that you can't do good stuff with simple one-hit samples like you are here, but top drums, cutting up samples and stuff, there's just so many nuanced, like when you download a top loop, it commonly is made up of maybe a recording of somebody with a shaker and then one hit samples, and then maybe they processed it a certain way. And there's all kinds of little subtle nuances that make it feel more lively and more real almost. When you do it with one shots like this, it ends up sounding just like a drum machine. And if that's what you're going for, that's fine. But for this like intergalactic feel, I kind of feel like a little bit more nuanced and some like more ear candy is probably a good move. Because right now I feel like you have a kick, a clap, and a hat. So in terms of your drums, yeah, you got a kick and a clap and a hat, and that's the the building blocks of a drum part. But to get something a bit more interesting with more character, then I feel like finding a bunch of loops, and people will hate on loops or whatever. You're not using the loop to make the song. You're finding interesting sounding top loops, and you're cutting them up and maybe use half of one and the other half of another, and you interlace it and you do interesting stuff. And what happens is there's all these little nuanced sounds in amongst those loops that you don't get when you're using the one shot. So long story short, maybe go find some loop packs and experiment with top loops like shakers and rhythmic stuff like that. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, I sent it, but you better not upload it. You can play it in your sets, don't upload it. This part is sick, and I think what makes this part sick over the other stuff is that there's layers to it. There's atmosphere, there's more to it, as opposed to I can just kind of picture like the patch that you use to make each of the individual sounds that kind of came before it. This is more complex and has more depth to it. So I think you have some interesting intergalactic ideas amongst this, but I believe that the pacing is too slow. And again, that might go back to the lack of elements. To me, I feel like you have maybe 5 elements total in this track, maybe 8. And not to say that you need to layer them forever to make it a good song, but this sort of music, it's supposed to be a listening style of music. So you have to give us layers and interesting things that play off of each other so that we can sit here and submerge ourselves in the track and hear, what? This entire stream is jumping? I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, yeah, I think that embellishing this with more layers and atmosphere and stuff is going to be a good way to go. But the kick drum, not a big fan of the kick drum. Sounds too kind of classic, 90s dance music kick drum, but not really in an ironic way. So I'm not a huge fan of it. To me, what this sounds like is you came up with a lot of cool ideas, but you didn't really develop any of them. It's like you kind of sketched out some ideas. And now I think what you should try to do is figure out what the main part of the song is and try to develop that up into something and then base the track and arrangement around that. Okay, now I have this really dreamy kind of psychosis kind of, you know, trancey style drop section. Now, how am I going to build into that? Okay, I'm going to build into it with this thing, and it's going to build up. And okay, now it hits. What comes before that build? Should I have an intro? Should I have a stripped down version of this drop? To me, you've got a lot of like great musical ideas here, but none of it has been really developed out. So I would pick a spot, pick your favorite spot and just spend like a day trying to build that one spot up to be like the best that it can be, with lots of ear candy and atmosphere, get everything sounding nice together, and then base the whole song on that. Because the arrangement to me is just kind of the arrangement, especially if you consider this first part, it sounds like you did a thing and you're like, that was cool. And then you like did another thing, you're like, that was cool. And then you did another thing and that was cool. And you did another thing and that was cool. So like they all kind of sound, yes, they're all related to each other musically, but the way that they flow into each other kind of feels like the way I have it here. It sounds like individual ideas that don't really ebb and flow and tell a story as one song. It sounds like you've experimented, came up with some cool ideas, and these are those ideas. I hope that doesn't come across as too harsh. I don't think it sucks. I think that it's just underdeveloped, and you need to think of the song as a whole as opposed to each individual section. Okay, and then I think this is the last one of the day. This one's called Song Number I Don't Know. That sounds like a Harmer or something with the phaser knob. I really like the sound design on it. I'm not sure that the drums are right. Because, okay, you've got like this like crash or ride or some sort of cymbal ringing the whole time. It's barely audible, but it is filling in all of the little empty spots between the sounds, and maybe not in a good way. I kind of feel like you should embrace the chonkiness of it, you know? And then the snare as well. The snare has this big tail. Like, it's such a weird kind of slightly IDM sounding bass. I feel like the drums should reflect that. They should maybe be short and punchy and emphasize the space in between stuff. There could be a little section of complete silence for 50 milliseconds between like two sounds that happen. That sort of stuff I think would go better with this style of music if it was a bit more cut and dry and leaning into like the clunkiness of it and the weirdness of it, because the drums to me kind of just sound like generic dubstep drum loop. They don't really, I don't think they jive that well. I think it should be like more of a like a punk, like a short snare, like a really short punchy snare and a big side, not long, but deep side chain to go with the kick and the snare. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of potential in that drop, in the crazy phaser sound that you're using, but I just think the drums aren't doing it justice. Let's keep going. I am doing feedback, but this is the last song for today. I do it every Friday, though, if you want to hop in next time. almost feel like this is another one of those situations where the drum pattern is building anticipation and tension because it's kind of offbeat. It's not hitting where we humanly instinctually think they should. It's hitting on the offbeats, and that's building tension. And I feel like you could capitalize on that tension by going to a more like more, not 4 to the floor necessarily, but a more breakbeat style where the snare is landing on the 2s and 4s. I think that having a snare on the 2s and 4s at some point would like relieve tension. And again, it's not that like it's not that the listeners consciously are like, yes, snares on the 2 and 4, hooray. Lots of people listen to music that don't understand a single thing about music, but they will notice that they're feeling tense, or they're naturally not having those 2 and 4s on the snare, or the snares on the 2 and 4s will build up tension inside of them. And then if you build, and then give them something a bit more structured, a bit more like to the point and not offbeat, I feel like that would resolve that tension and be a cool moment. Oh, yeah. Razor does. Yeah, Razor has that cool thing on the bottom. I can't remember what it's called now. Is it the comb filter portion of it? It's at the very bottom. It's like yeah, it could be that too. I guess I could load. I forget sometimes that I own things. Reactor 6. Man, it's been a while since I fucking opened this up. What? Native Instruments. Razor. There we go. Comb Peak. Yeah. It's this one. Yeah, that shit is crazy. I love this. How do I just do, is it bass? What's the one that's just, it's just basic. I can't remember what it's called. In it. There we go. Yeah, it's pretty sick. I miss playing around with synthesizers. What is this sound? I don't know. Well, I do know it's a square wave going through a comb filter and some unison. Oh, and it has the what's that oscillator that's like primes, yeah. That's what I love, that the prime one. I always used to fuck around with that. And it's been so long since I used this. Wow. Let's do this. Envelope 2. What am I even doing? I get lost in the sauce. Let's use envelope 3 instead. Sorry. Wheel. That's a wheel. Anyway, sorry. I don't know what the hell just happened, but let's keep going. again, it's like, again, see how offbeat it is? It would be sick if it eventually went to something that was a bit more, I don't know, 4 to the floor-ish. This is the sound I was thinking of. But you gotta do like... Again, don't know what happened. I think the strengths of this are the sound design. I think the strengths are that crazy phaser thing, but I'm not in love with the drums. I thought they were quite fitting maybe in these sections. Because it's more like, but at some point I would like for it to go into a more steady beat so that I can rock my head without being like, you know? Lots of cool sound design stuff. I don't know. I liked it. Okay, cool. That's what you get. This is me. That's a Melodian behind me. And I'm going to go home now. And I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for sending me your music, trusting me with your music to listen to. I don't know if that makes any sense. I hope you have a good weekend. I will talk to you later and see you next week. Goodbye. Goodbye. Use concept, Karen, I don't know how to fix that. Yeah. It's nice to bounce it off of, it's nice to bounce music off of other people, whether they're professional producers or just your friends, because everybody has an opinion. And as long as you take it with a grain of salt, there's usually something to gain by hearing what somebody has to say about your stuff. But anyway, okay, goodbye.